During my time here today, I will be discussing the Detroit Bad Boys era of the Pistons NBA team and how they are not as bad as people make them out to be. According to my audience analysis, all of you know what the NBA and the Detroit Pistons are. However, only 14% actually watch professional basketball. I've done extensive research on the Pistons basketball team, especially during the 1980s and 1990s era. Throughout my time here today, I will be talking to you more about this team's history, the Bad Boys, and the ending of an era in sports like no other. First, let's discuss the team's history. ESPN states that the team was founded in 1941 in Fort Wayne, Indiana, by Fred Zollner. Fort Wayne's small size made it hard for the team to be profitable, so they decided to relocate to a bigger market and ended up choosing Detroit, Michigan. They played in the Olympia Stadium for the first 4 seasons in Detroit. Then they moved to Cobo Arena and played there from 1961 to 1978. In '78, the team moved to the Pontiac Silverdome, where they played until 1988, when they made their final move to their current stadium called the Palace of Auburn Hills. Throughout the 1970s and early 80s, this team was the underdog in the league, to say the least. At the time, the Pistons led the league record losing streak of 21 games, which has since been broken. But because of this, the head coach, Chuck Daly, decided that they needed to play more aggressively. At the time, the NBA did not have nearly as many rules as it does today. This allowed them to play, as some would consider unethically, without having to worry about being penalized and picking up multiple fouls. I agree that at times the team played dirty, but as I mentioned before, there were no rules to say that they couldn't play this way, and nobody told their opponents that they couldn't also play this way. The Pistons intimidated their opponents by giving them an elbow, pushing them, and even smacking them at times. What Isaiah Thomas, Joe DeMars, Bill Laimbeer, John Salley, Mark Aguirre, Dennis Rodman, Vinnie Johnson, James Edwards, Rick Mahorn, John Long, Fennis Dembo, and Michael Williams did was win 2 NBA championships back-to-back in 1989 and 1990. This was a huge accomplishment considering the season records that they had in the past. So no matter what, if they were rough on their opponents, playing not only mentally but also physically, when it comes down to it, they had more points on the scoreboard in the end of the game than their opponents did. These guys shouldn't be known as the Bad Boys. They did what they needed to in order to win the game. After the team won these 2 championships, many of them got drafted to play for other teams. This brought an end to the Bad Boy era. In conclusion, the Detroit Bad Boys did what they needed to in order to win, and because of this, changed basketball as we know it today. At the time, the Bad Boys were looked down on as unethical athletes, but 25 years later, I challenge you to do the opposite. Look up to these athletes. What these players did in Detroit can be applied to our everyday lives. Every day, always do your best and fight for what you want. I believe if you live your life like this, when you look down at your own personal scoreboard at the end of the day, you will be winning. The references I used are ESPN.com, which is the Entertainment and Sports Programming Network, NBA.com, which is National Basketball Association, and the DetroitNews.com. Thank you.